get started with that.
Looks like my little guy's dancing.
Yeah, a little bit of PowerPoint presentation stuff there. What we'll be going over today, we're going to go over a little bit about how it works, the benefits to you guys at the credit union. A little bit on the security features, that'll be very quick. The benefits to your members, and most importantly is regarding the loan penetrations and how to use the system. Everybody's familiar with the traditional services that are out there, like the auto advisors, Kelley Blue Book, Auto Trader, Cars.com, Cars Direct, Credit Union Auto Branch. These services each of us have used at one time or another. On the traditional services, the only problems that they really have is they don't have new vehicle inventory, which represent 44% of the purchasing market. Program fees are typically very high to use them. The programs are designed to drive traffic to the dealership, not to a lender. And the programs offer no user controls for the members or for a user. Basically, what you see is what you get. We have some, basically, what we consider technology giants, which are dominating the auto buying services. I don't know if any of you guys have used them or are aware of them. USAA, AAA, American Express, Consumer Reports, Bank of America, Geico, TrueCar. There's several of them out there. Now, these are essentially new car auto buying programs. These programs, the success of these programs and the people that use them, they miss a few things that credit unions really need to use the program successfully. One is you have the other ones that only use pre-owned. You have these that only use new, and so they don't have any pre-owned inventory, which represent 56% of the purchasing market. The program fees are very high. Their programs offer no back-end loan controls. Again, they are designed to drive traffic to the dealership. And the programs offer no user controls. Again, what you see is what you get. With the credit union auto buying platform, we've corrected everything that we see have problems with the other programs. One, there are no program fees. The platform itself is free. The platform provides both new and used vehicles. The platform provides real-time follow-up controls with loan follow-up tools, meaning it's not designed to just drive the traffic to the dealership, which ultimately they have to go to a dealership to buy a car. However, it gives you upfront notification that you have a member that's in the market to buy a car. And it has user controls for the members. The members get to decide whom they receive the pricing from, rather than having their information sold to a bunch of different people that contact them to try to solicit their business. And we all know credit unions traditionally have always provided services which benefit the members. And I'm sure you guys have a lot of this as far as personal bankers, free checking, high yield savings, CDs. Of course, you have your online banking, some credit unions, family planning, business advice, and on and on. I mean, we have home loans, auto installment loans, service contracts. And, of course, now we have the availability to offer our members auto buying services. So let's look at how it works. Take a peek at the security and some of the benefits to the members. Obviously, with today's technology, we all have to be a little bit concerned with hackers. Hackers, as we refer to them, gain access to your programs and information through vulnerabilities in your website code. we use two different methods to connect the members to their vehicle information. Neither method uses your company, the credit union's website code. iframes and direct links. An iframe uses a little piece of code which is called a handler, which is placed on your internal server on your website to make a page appear over the top of an existing page. And a link is what we all are pretty much familiar with. It's when you click on a word or a logo and you're redirected to a different website. And you guys, TampaBay, has chosen to use this method, which is the link method. Your website will contain a logo, and when it's clicked, the member will be taken to a branded web page. And simply what a branded web page is this. Here is your website. If somebody was to go in and type in TampaBayFederal.com, this is where they're going to be taken, to your website. When the member clicks on something, you'll have somewhere in your website placed a logo, and this logo, it takes them to your auto buying service. And when they click that link, and again, this page just shows what the links would look like, but it would be somewhere where you have a link in your website. And then when they click a link, pay attention up here, where right now we're on TampaFederal.com. And now if you notice up here, the address in the web bar now says Tampa Bay Federal Credit Union member-pricing.com. Even though it looks like they're still on your website, they're actually now working on our server. And this is what's called a branded web page. It's a web page that makes the member feel that they are working with the credit union. However, they have actually been taken to the pricing section of the website. So if they're looking for a pre-owned vehicle, they're going to be taken where they enter in their zip code. When they enter in their zip code, they submit it, and they'll be taken to the pre-owned vehicles. They can select a pre-owned vehicle from the list. They can sort just like every pre-owned site. They can look for miles. They can look for new vehicles, used vehicles, certain dollar amount vehicles, mileage range. They can look for certified vehicles only. You can see the yellow one here is a certified vehicle. And so they have all the sorting features that they would have anywhere. They go back to the manufacturers, and let's take a look at the new vehicles. New vehicles is a big portion that separates this program and your program from what's currently available. You can go a lot of places and find used cars. However, new cars is a whole different animal. Let's take a look at Nissan. They log in. They select new vehicles. They select a Nissan. They now need to select what type of Nissan. They're looking for an Altima. They're taken to an Altima configuration page. They select their style. They're going to go in and select a particular style that they may want. And here they selected a coupe. Select the color of vehicle that they're looking for. Go in on that particular vehicle to list all the options that are available. Let's take off cloth seats. Let's go with the leather trim. Then they're taken to whatever the available incentives based on their zip code is available. We're in Florida. They select their Florida incentive of $1,250. Now they have a vehicle configured. And you can see the retail, this represents what the MSRP is on the vehicle of $31,200. They select to get their member price, and they're taken to a page that needs to do two things. One, it needs to verify that it's a real person, and two, it's going to they're going to need to receive a phone call or a text in order to actually get a price. So they put in their phone number. They are then text a PIN number. They validate their PIN. And they're taken to the member pricing section. This shows them what the retail is on the vehicle, what the invoice price is on the vehicle, and the total savings, what their actual member prices are. Now, in order to get the dealership information where these vehicles are located, down here they can choose their own dealership. They can drop that down and choose, like if they have a specific dealership they're looking to do business with. They can uncheck any of the boxes and not receive pricing from any of these. They enter in their information. Now, in order to receive the dealer information in their pricing certificate, they have to enter in their email address. When they enter in their email address, they click to receive their certificate. Now, this is basically the complete security section, and the reason for the security is, again, they're not working anywhere on your site. So they're completely separate. So as far as anything contained on your website, it's completely secure. They'll receive their email. Once they check their email, they pull up and they're going to receive their certificate. And this is what the certificate looks like. It's going to give them the dealer, a validation number for the certificate, what type of vehicle they've selected, the equipment they've selected, the invoice price, the MSRP, any incentives they've chosen that they qualify for, the total of the incentives, their price, the discount from MSRP, and the discount relationship to invoice. The name of the credit union which referred them, in this case they're coming through your site, so this would be TampaBay, and this would also, and then their name to go to the dealership to purchase the vehicle. Now, some of the things, and the reason the certificate is displayed this way, is many times a member will end up going to the credit union and find a car that has a little bit more equipment or a little bit less equipment. And so, as explained down here, they can simply take the $2,950 here, including the manufacturer's incentive, and they can pick out a different vehicle and simply be presented the invoice, subtract that amount, and that is their purchase price. Or they can look at the MSRP and get an idea where they're going to be by subtracting this amount from the MSRP of the vehicle that they select. That is the members section. That is how they get their new car pricing, and that's how they get their used car pricing. Anybody have any questions on that section?
I guess I just want to clarify, this is Maggie. When they take that certificate to the dealership, that price that's on that certificate is honored. There's no negotiation at that point.
That's correct. The variance in it, Maggie, is going to be if they choose a vehicle, if they've configured a vehicle that has a $27,000 invoice, and so their member price, for instance, is $25,000 if it was $2,000 below invoice. If they choose a vehicle that has a little higher invoice than the one they've configured, they will still honor the $2,000 below invoice on that purchase. Or if it was a little bit less, it would still be $2,000 below invoice. That's correct. There's no negotiation at that. There's no negotiation at that point from the dealer side or from the member side, unless there's additional incentives or something that that the program wasn't aware of, like if they received a coupon mailer, from Nissan that entitled them to an additional $500 that we weren't aware of. That would be the only time that there would be a price change. And when I get into the next section, I'll show you how we've handled some of that, because the traditional buying programs, what has happened is the dealers will price their vehicles at a price to get the people in the door and then say, oh, by the way, you also have to pay for this additional appearance package or market adjustment or this and that. And so they have used the other programs as a means of advertising to get people in and then try to bump them on the price. And so I'll show you how we've corrected that problem. And not saying that nobody will ever do that, but I'll show you the corrections that enable us to control it, and more importantly, put some controls in your guys' hands to control it.
Okay, I guess that would be my follow-up question is, since they have the certificate and they're walking in, do we have to worry about the dealership saying, oh, but if you do the 1.99% financing over here, it's going to be cheaper than that certificate?
Not than the price. The pricing won't change based on how they finance it. If any, the rebates that we put are the retail incentives. If somebody chooses like 1.99% financing, they lose the incentive. And there's not a program in the world that is going to prevent a dealership from trying to talk somebody into using their financing. And that's what we'll get into with your guys' back-end controls, because regardless of what you have or what I provide or what anybody provides, the dealership, still the nature of the beast is to try to steal the customer and to try to capture everything they can and make every dime that they can possibly make. What we've attempted to do is to first establish a pricing model to where the dealership has no room to negotiate, where they can't bump them on additional items. As far as the financing and the control of the financing, that's really going to fall into your hands. And when I get into the next section, I'll show you how that works.
Okay.
Okay, so we saw this screen here, and we see the pricing. So let's take a look at how the pricing works on the dealer section. The dealers in the program, on their back-end tools, they jockey for position. In order for a dealership to show as one of those top 3 prices, let me see if I can back up one here, a couple. See these 3 prices here? These 3 dealerships show up. There might be 10 dealerships in there, but only these 3 dealerships show up. And the reason that these 3 dealerships show up is because the vehicle that the consumer has configured has queried the database and determined that these 3 dealerships are the 3 lowest priced dealers on that vehicle. So now so how that works, they have to be one of the 3 lowest dealers, as I said, and the pricing will not be displayed unless they are one of the 3 lowest, and they're aware of this. Dealers must list all their optional ads commonly found on their inventory. So market adjustments, appearance packages, and such items as that are labeled on the certificate, and the dealers in their back-end tool have to list those items so that when the member gets there, they can't say, oh, and we have this. They're required to list it up front, and it explains to the member what to do if the dealer tries to add those additional items. Okay. Most importantly, the vehicles have to be priced where they can be sold. So when the dealer goes into their back-end tool, essentially they're going to have their menu options here. They go to their pricing manager, select which dealership they are with. If they have multiple dealerships, like the Crown Group is where they would have multiple selections. A single dealer obviously wouldn't have those selections. Once they do that, they're going to go to the pricing section, and this is just a snapshot of a little piece of the Nissan pricing section. And you'll notice here you have 370Zs, all the models on 370Zs, and here's the Ultimas. You'll notice the ranking here, number 4, all the way down the line. That number 4 tells that dealership what position they are currently priced at. Over here where it shows the negative 1700, that tells the dealership where number 1 position currently has their vehicles priced. So right now this dealership knows that if a member is looking for an Altima or looking for a 370Z, that they aren't going to have an opportunity to sell them a car. Their information is not going to show because they're in position 4. So in order to show, they have to get to position 3, 2, or 1. And this tells them where the 1. See the add-ons here? This is where the dealership, if they have common add-ons like appearance packages, market adjustments, this is where they're required to add that information to come up with the net selling price. So this is a blown up section of the dealer pricing module. Here you can see still the number 4, which this is what the dealership is looking at to say, okay, what do we have to do to try to get a sell, to try to get a free lead? They're priced at $1,400 below invoice right now. They've said we have no add-ons. Number 1 dealership is at $1,700 under invoice. Since only the 3 lowest prices are displayed to a potential buyer, which is your member, they must lower their price to receive an opportunity to sell them a car. They have to change this number. So in order to do so, we take a look at number 3 dealer here. The number 3 dealer has their vehicles priced at $1,500 under. Now, if a member goes in and they're looking for a 2011 Altima, providing they have one in inventory, they're going to now show up when the member prices the car. They're going to show up at $1,500 under invoice. Number 1 dealership is going to show up at $1,700 under invoice. Look at them side by side here. Here you have the dealership at $1,500 priced at number 3. Number 2 dealership is priced at $1,600, and then you have the number 1 dealership. And so this shows every dealership when they log into the back-end tool, if they want an opportunity. For instance, this dealer here has priced at $1,500 under on this vehicle, $1,400 under on this vehicle. They need to sell some of the 3.5 four-door sedans, but they don't necessarily want to display the pricing. They're not concerned about the coupes. And so another dealership would fall into that 3rd position.
Rob, I have a quick question. How quickly does the certification come up, or the pricing? Because I'm assuming they would need a little bit of time, the dealerships, to go in there and figure out how they would become one of the top 3.
No, it's actually instantaneous. Let me back up one here. Let's see if I can back up a couple, actually. Go here. See right up here, the submit pricing?
Mm-hmm.
When they enter their price in, they click submit pricing, and it instantly shows them their new ranking.
But are they able to lower the price again if they want a better ranking?
Absolutely. They can lower it again and change it again. It's going to have about a 2-hour time. It's between 2 and 3 hours, depending on the traffic at that time. Between the time that a dealership settles on their final pricing, when they hit the submit pricing the final time, whichever the last pricing they submit, it will then that pricing will then display live to anybody that is searching for a car in about 2 hours is when their pricing will actually go live. And the reason that there's a lag time is we wanted to take away the control of a dealership to have a member in the showroom and to say, oh no, that car is actually not priced at $1,500 under. It's priced at $1,100 under, and have them be able to go in and change the price to $1,100. And the member log in and say, oh yeah, it is $1,100. So they have about between 2 and 3 hours. That way, when somebody does arrive, they can't change the pricing on them while they're in the showroom.
Okay.
Does that answer your question?
I think so, because I think now that I'm looking at it, I guess they go in at any point and are selecting these prices. It's not like they're waiting for something to come up and members looking for that specific car and they're like bidding on it. They're doing this at any point, and so that way when someone goes to look for a car, they know they are going to come up ranked number 3.
Correct. Correct. The dealership is typically once a day, once every few days, once a week. They go in and they look at their back end pricing to see where they're at. Now, a lot of their pricing is determined on what they need to sell. The manufacturer puts out a dealer incentive. Like Nissan currently has a $600 retro money for dealers if they hit certain volumes, and it's on particular vehicles. And so the dealership is able and willing to price those vehicles more aggressively because they're trying to hit a number, and so they'll go in and always be jockeying for that 1, 2, and 3 position. The other dealers will be doing the same thing, and ultimately they end up getting to the bottom line price that they're able to sell the car for, to where they're not able to go any further. And so you typically would get your 3 lowest priced dealerships, and then the 4th one is really, they have to really think about it long and hard whether they want to get into that margin or not. And if they're not able to, then they will concentrate on different vehicles to try to get the first 3 positions.
Gotcha.
Rob, this is Jeff.
Hi, Jeff.
Is there anything to protect the member against any type of bait and switch, or if as these dealers are jockeying for position and they change their numbers either up or down, depending on where they are for the month or what cars they have in inventory, if a member prints out, if they price it to where it benefits the member, then between the time the member sees it and prints out their certificate and gets to the dealership, and now they change to where now they're went from number 1 to number 3, are they still going to honor that?
14 days. The certificate that the member prints out is a certificate that the dealership is obligated to honor that pricing on that product line for a period of 14 days or until the end of the month when incentives change. So
another thing,
go ahead.
Another thing that we also have in place, Jeff, is we track all of the dealer pricing submissions. So say, for example, the dealer put in, they printed out their certificate, let's say September 5th. And they're just now getting to go into the dealership today, but the dealership has changed their price since then. At the bottom of the certificate, we have all of our phone numbers listed. If for any reason the dealer gives a member a hard time about a price, we're actually able to pull up to see what the dealer pricing was on that particular day. If the dealer's saying that we didn't put in that price, we track all the price submissions for 6 months.
So yeah, there's a few things in place. The only caveat to that you could see something is when a member gets a price on the 30th of the month and they don't go to the dealership until the 3rd of the month and incentives have changed. Incentives are included in the pricing, so if the incentives have changed, the pricing will also change, but only by the amount of the incentive.
Then just from a member service standpoint, just to educate the member on the front end, are there any disclaimers or disclosures about that? So if I am printing one up on the 30th, I'm aware that I might want to recheck that on the 3rd.
There is. It's on the certificate that tells them that the incentives change on the first, typically on the 1st of the month, and that the incentives will affect the pricing. And it also gives them, it actually gives them on the certificate a breakdown on how to calculate the price and what a dealership can and cannot charge for. For instance, you see the add-ons here on this section, and this is the biggest thing that people will tend to find, and that's not built into any of the other programs. If a dealership has listed that they don't have any additional add-ons on their vehicles, now this excludes, and it explains it also on the certificates, this excludes hard adds. Like if a dealership has installed a moonroof, well, you can't go in and buy a car for that amount below invoice if the invoice has changed because there's a hard add on the car. The add-ons are, and it explains what a soft add and a hard add is. This is referring to a soft add. So if a member goes to the dealership and they have a price at $1,500 below invoice, and the dealership says, oh, by the way, we have a appearance package that we have on the car, you need to pay an additional $1,000 for the appearance package. On the front of the member certificate, it lists what add-ons the dealership has disclosed that they will charge for the car. If the dealership hasn't disclosed that they have an appearance package for $1,000, then they can't charge it. And if they if they wish to proceed in that manner, then we have a couple things for them too. One, we can remove them off of the program, but more importantly than us being able to remove them off the program, as you'll see shortly, the credit union also has the availability to, if a dealership just isn't playing fair, at the check of a box, you can deactivate the dealership so that your members aren't receiving their pricing, because you know that every time a member goes there, the dealership is putting fake prices or trying to upsell them, trying to charge them additional things. You're able to deselect the dealership. They no longer receive pricing. That sends us a notification so that we can then interact with the dealership and yourselves to see if we can fix the situation. Ultimately, it's your program. If the situation, you don't feel that that you want to do business with that dealership, you don't want to send your members to that dealership, ultimately that becomes your decision. You keep the box unchecked and we're not able to go in and check your box. So if you keep the box unchecked, they don't receive your member information. So it behooves the dealership, because remember, these leads that the dealership are getting, unlike traditional lead services, they're free. They don't pay to receive the member pricing, the member information. They don't pay a dime for it unless they buy a car. And so unlike AutoTrader or Cars.com or Cars Direct, the dealerships, when they receive those leads, they pay for every lead they receive, whether they sell a car or not. So the dealership wants to receive these leads. They want an opportunity to sell them a car because they don't pay unless they sell them a car. It's the cheapest lead they can receive. Let's move down a little bit here. So with traditional pricing, it basically allows the dealers to negotiate the prices with the members or even auto advisors when they come to the dealership. The price that they end up with, it may be a great price or it may not be so great. We don't know because they're basically negotiating an individual car against an individual customer rather than negotiating the price against other dealers where all their costs are the same. Whatever the price with the traditional pricing methods, what we do know is that there's one thing for sure. No matter what price the member negotiates, they're going to argue, they're going to get frustrated, and ultimately they're going to get pressured into using the dealer financing. Since they're already there, it's convenient, so why not use our financing while you're here, is what they'll hear from the dealership every single time. Now, the pricing platform causes, as you see, the dealers to negotiate amongst themselves, where they all have the same cars, they have the same costs, and they try to obtain the lowest price prior to the person receiving the pricing for an opportunity to sell a vehicle because it's free for them to do so. They're not paying for the lead up front. Now, what this results in is the member of your credit union or an employee of your credit union, they receive an extremely low price with a no hassle and no haggle. It creates an incentive for your members to retain the membership with the credit union. You're providing them something. You're not sending them somewhere else that's sending them to a dealership. You're providing them a service now, which, again, starts to build that loyalty back. And in most cases, it's going to save thousands of dollars over what the traditional buying services would be able to generate. Was there any additional questions you want me to answer on that section before I move on? No. Okay. Let's go over the most important part in the last section here, which is the credit union lead to loan platform, its features and its benefits. You'll have a login. Whoever is the designated person to say, okay, this person gets a login, this person gets a login, and this person gets a login. Everybody will have their own individual login, or you can have a company login, all in how you decide. And you'll have a login to go to, this is where the member would go in order to get there. This will be your link. You'll have a login to go to your back-end tool. And then once you get into your back-end tool, this is what the base back-end tool starts out. When you log in, this is what you're going to see. This is the ALSCU login, creditunionlogin.com. When you go here, right off the bat, you have the platform, which gives you some tools that you can use even if you're not working currently with a member that's trying to buy a car, or if you have somebody in your office and they haven't used the auto buying service and you want to take a look at some of the programs and features out there. So you can enter in the customer zip code, the vehicle that they're looking for right here. They're comparing an Altima to a Hyundai Sonata. Everybody see that? And then you hit enter. And it's going to tell you on that vehicle what the base MSRP without ads are and what the invoice price on that unit is. Also shows you on the Sonata what the MSRP and what the invoice is. It shows you all the available incentives that are available on the vehicle. So if you have a member that happens into your credit union and says, hey, I want to see if I can get pre-approved on an Altima, you can go to your back-end tool. And on the front page of the back-end tool, you can take a look and see, kind of get an idea on how much you need to qualify them for. They're looking for a 2.5S Altima. You know that you've got a 21.9 invoice on the base Altima, and you can see what the incentives are so that you can kind of get an idea on how you need to structure your loan or how much money based on the credit that you're going to need to get out of the member in order to qualify them for. Same thing with the Sonata. As you can see, there's many incentives on the Altima. unless they're in the military, there's none for the Hyundai Sonata. And so that's a tool that really has nothing to do with your back-end tool. It's something that we just provided you to for your everyday business when you have people in there that you're looking at qualifying for a loan, that you can look at different vehicles and see what the incentives are and to get an idea on how much money you need to be qualifying them for. Over on the left, you have a menu options. You click that bar, it opens up, and you click log in. When you log in, it's going to give you a login box, which you're going to put in your username and your password. Click log in. That's going to take you to the dealer manager section. When you're in the dealer manager section, these are all demo dealers for this demonstration. It shows you the dealerships that are currently receiving your members' information or that they have a selection from. And this is where we were talking about if you have a specific dealership that this Chevy dealership here just isn't doing business in the way that you feel they should be. You don't like this Infiniti dealership, and this Infiniti dealership here has done everything wrong. You uncheck the box, you update the dealerships, and now instantaneously the next member that searches for an Infiniti will no longer receive these two dealerships information. Everybody see how that works?
Yeah.
Now this is a control that we ask that you use as little as possible. I mean, we want the dealerships to basically, unlike any other program out there, we want them to know that they need to have a little bit of fear that they can be shut off, not by us, because traditionally DealerTrack or Cars.com, they have a money vested interest, and so it's very tough for them to shut off a dealership. We let them know right up front that it's not up to us. It's up to you guys on how they treat your members on whether you choose to do business with them or not, so that they have a vested interest themselves to know that when the member walks in, that not doing business in a conducive manner, that you have the option of shutting them off. To, again, put a little bit of that fear in there that they could be shut off. And vice versa, by the way. Dealerships also have this same control with the credit unions. If for some reason a certain credit union continues to send members that are just giving them bad surveys and beating them up on pricing, and they would rather not have your members come to their dealership, they can deactivate your credit union. And that's when we would be contacting you saying, hey, this is what they're saying is going on. So it works on both sides. It's not managed by us. It's your platform. It's managed by you. You update your dealerships, and it's done. Go to the Content Manager. This is all in your back-end tool. Take a look at it here on the Content Manager on Info Box 1. After you become more familiar with the program and how it works, this section will change to where you actually have drop-downs and you're able to change the stuff without submitting it. Until the point that you completely grasp all the concepts of it and how it works. Right now it'll go through us so that we don't run into a situation where you change something and you don't know how to change it back. So Info Box 1 is this box that's located right here. This box is able to be configured with anything that you want in it. You can have your announcements in it. You can put your loan rates in it. You can put your banking info in it. Up here, you're able to adjust where your links go. So, for instance, if somebody's shopping for a car and you want them to be able to click and go directly to, if you have a rate page, to see what the credit union rates are, or if you want them to be able to go directly to the loan center to apply for a loan, these links go wherever you guys tell us you want them to go to. And Cindy, this is what I was talking to you about the other day. These links here are totally up to you guys where you have them point to. Traditionally, okay, you're going to have them go back to your page to a section that's going to be somewhat affiliated to the car program. So if somebody's looking for a Nissan, you want to give them availability to be able to apply for the loan right there, to be able to contact a member servicing representative to apply for a loan, or to be able to see what your current rates are. You may want to have that right in here. You may want to publish your current rates and have them show here. You may like how we have a fraud alert right in here that was back in June. You may want to have that. So That's totally up to you. That's a little bit of the versatility you guys have in making it your own, to make it where it becomes part of your program and not an outside program.
Sounds good.
The second box here, that's located right here on the new car page. Right now we have it labeled in there in this demonstration as fun facts. Again, you can have anything you want in there. If you wanted to have maybe a 0.25 off for automatic payments, or you wanted to put a little bit of advertisement, again, things to draw them back to you. Then you have the info box number 3. The info box number 3 is located on the pre-owned section. Again, same thing. Color schemes. The color schemes are located throughout the site. Where you have right now, this is displaying red and blue. You may want it to be this shade of purple or pink, whatever it is, or this light blue, and you may want to have those colors changed so that they match. Or when you guys do updates or whatever you have, you may want to have something special, and you simply send over that, hey, change this color or change this color. And again, in the future, after you learn the system, you'll simply have a drop down with the color codes that you select the color code, and instantaneous it'll update your site what colors you want it to be, and also the wording. Things that you need to personally explain if you didn't reach us on the phone, explain right here. Explain exactly what you need so that our programming department can change that for you. Once you're done with the content manager, made the changes, select your menu options, go to the support center. On the support center, of course, you have the contact information, and then any immediate support that you may need, and how you want to be contacted back. Simply type it in there, and we'll get back with you and or get corrected whatever you need to have changed. You might be running a weekend special that you want to throw something up there real quick, or something like that, that will accommodate for you. Controlling the loans and the benefits that come with increasing your direct installment loan penetration, I don't need to tell you guys, you know better than me. I assume that you have service contract, probably have credit insurance, and I'm sure that you offer gap insurance. Nothing bad comes from making the right loan. So let's go take a look at your lead manager. On the lead manager, there's multiple ways to search for a customer's information. You can put in the dates, you can put in their name, you can search in email, you can change how many entries you show, you can search pieces of names, little things, you can search phone numbers. So when a customer calls into the credit union, this is how it should look. A few things that we were told that needed to be addressed to assist the loan officers at the credit union to proactively increase the credit union installment loan penetrations. One of which was to be provided the customer's information, obviously, which customers that are actively pursuing an automobile purchase. You need to be provided their vehicle pricing information, which we do, and most importantly, needed to be provided good contact information. Many times on a lot of sites, customers go in and they are searching for a car, but they're scared to death. I mean, they put in the wrong email, or they put in the wrong phone number, but that way nobody can contact them, and next thing you know, they're at the dealership buying a car, and even if you did receive the information, you had no way of contacting them because you don't know who they really were. So the things that we put into place, you remember here where we put in the phone number in order to receive the PIN? That's the first thing that we put in, is they are unable to receive a price without a good phone number. So 100% of the time, if they've received a price, you're going to get a good phone number, a way to contact them. Secondly, when we went to here and they received their certificate, they have to put in an actual real email in order to get the certificate. And so you're going to get the name, you're going to get a good phone number, and you're going to get a good email to maximize your potential to be able to actually contact the member, or if they call in, to be able to find out who they actually are. When a member shops on places like AutoTrader, they're on their home computer shopping, or they're in the newspaper, none of these they're all non-associated services with the credit union. The member feels no obligation or loyalty to the credit union. I mean, after all, how did you help them in finding a car? And that's why loan penetrations traditionally over the last several years, not just market conditions, loan penetrations in general have been down with credit unions, not simply because of the economy, but also because the loyalty of members have. When I was younger and in the car business, when a member came to the dealership looking for a car, it was like pulling teeth to get them to do the loan with the dealership. I mean, I could not tell you how many times I personally heard that, no, you know what, we're going to check with our credit union before we do the loan. And 10 years later, it's not that way at all. They could have their last 7 loans at the credit union, and the majority of the people, they don't care. They just want to get their loan and get out. They don't really care who does it. And so the loyalty that's been with the credit union for years has basically diminished, and we associate a lot of that to the fact that we really haven't provided them the services to contain them within the credit union. We traditionally send them everywhere else to go do their shopping and then hope that they'll come and do the loan with us. And so that's where your back-end tools come. We try to return the member loyalty. By providing the member with a buying service, an easy-to-use pricing platform, great prices, and reduces the stress of making a purchase. This is benefits that members expect to receive from a credit union. You'll again start to see the return of member loyalty and an increase in your inbound loan inquiries. Your phones will start to ring with people that say, hey, I just used the credit union the buying service, and I was wondering what we can do here. With the proper marketing on your end of the services that you provide to your members, just like you do every day with your checking services, CDs, and to let them know that, hey, we offer you an auto buying service, you're identifying the services which set you apart from your competitors. You will increase your loan penetrations. Now, when the member goes in and selects and they call in, just as this shows, hello, my name is Thomas McCrackalacken, and I was looking for a new car. Great. The member service rep answers the phone. Great. Did you use the auto buying service? Yes, I did. Fantastic. Give me your email, and I will look up your vehicle details. The loan servicing member goes into the back end tool, pulls up the lead manager, gets the email address, puts it in, hits search. Okay, I have your information. New Ultima, congratulations. How may I assist you? When you put it in, it pulls up the member's information, what they're buying, how much money they're looking for, what they're trying to buy, so that you can now attempt to obtain their loan for them. And this is when a member is calling in. You can search the information to see what exactly they were looking for, how much money they're looking for, and then you can use that information to then go into your side to see, obviously, the things that you need to look at to determine their worthiness to give them a loan. Or even we can make phone calls. It's a crazy idea, but not everybody's going to call when they go in and use the service. And this goes something like this. You see that a new one comes in. See here where it shows active and purchased. You see that an active one comes in, and you pull it up, and it's assigned to whoever, and they call up the customer. Hello, Mr. McCrackalacken. This is the senior loan officer at ABC Credit Union. I saw that you selected a vehicle from your auto buying service. How can I assist you with your financing needs? I would be happy to get you pre-approved so that when you visit the dealership, the process will go faster. I have your new vehicle information. Would you like to proceed with the pre-approval? So the second part of this, and probably the most important part of this, is the proactivity on your part to, when a lead comes in, to follow up the lead and recognize that you have a member that's on your website, that's using your services, that's shopping for a car, that you have a captive member that before you had no way, he was on Auto Trader looking for a car, you had no way of knowing he's at the dealership buying a car. You now, before the dealership has received the consumer information, you've received the information to allow you to contact the member, know what they're looking for, to contact them, to get them in, to get them pre-approved prior to them visiting the dealership, and essentially do what credit unions do, is to make their experience a little bit easier and to capture the loan. And so that's the proactive side of using the service. Now on your lead manager, you can review which members have completed the purchase. You see here where it shows active, and then it also shows purchased. So you can go in and see what kind of job you're doing, see what you're missing or how you're missing it, to see if you need to make changes internally to what your process is to help increase your penetrations. So you click on one of the members that purchased a car, you see where he purchased the car from, that the car has been done, and now it's as simple as you asking a couple questions. This dealership sold him a car, and we need to ask the question, did we secure this loan? Yes, great, we did it right. No, why not? What could we have done different in order to secure the loan prior to the member visiting the dealership? Ultimately, at the end of the day, you don't really care what dealership the member buys the car at, but you would like them to go in with pre-approved so that when the loan is done, you can finalize the numbers and have sold the service contract yourself. And keep in mind, dealerships are also aware that you're doing this. And so when they price their cars, they're pricing their cars knowing that a big portion of the members that are going to come to their dealership are already going to have the loan affixed. And if you already have them approved, if you already sold them the gap insurance, the chances of them financing at the dealership is greatly diminished. I don't know how much your gap insurance is, but most dealerships right now are charging $799 for gap insurance. I'm pretty sure you're not charging that amount. And so when they get to the dealership, and the dealership, even when they try to steal the financing, if they already know what your rate is, they know that your gap insurance is less than what the dealership is charging them, your service contract is less than what the dealership is charging them, the chances of the dealership being able, if they try to convert your member, the chances of them being able to convert the member is greatly diminished, because in general, the hardest part of competing with the credit union is typically your guys' prices are going to be less than what the dealership is offering them. And so you gain back that strength, you gain back that control. Will you keep 100%? No. Dealerships are still dealerships, but it'll be far more than what you have been getting, because up until now you don't have any way of knowing which members, unless they call you, you have no way of knowing which members are actually out buying a car at a dealership right now as we speak. You don't know which ones have just went to cars.com, selected a vehicle, and are on their way to the dealership right now to buy a car. There's no way for you to know. That's what this back-end tool does for you. Any questions on this?
Hi, Rob. This is Becky. I did have a quick question, because maybe I missed it somewhere. To get to the management platform, do we go in there and register for our username and password, or?
No, the username and password, and again, I apologize that I don't know who at the credit union level is going to be the designated person that that assigns or allows the controls. There's and so essentially whoever that person is going to provide us with a list of users that they want to have access and what access they want to the back-end tool. I assume that whatever loan officers you assign are going to have access to the lead management tools. I assume that. However, go ahead.
No, this is Cindy. I was going to say pretty much I would almost let most of our associates who are involved with the members be able to see that on the back end. It doesn't really, I mean, it just gives them the opportunity to follow up easier. So
right. The only thing that you may that there may be a caveat to that you may not want everybody to be able to deactivate a dealership.
Right. Can you just secure that? I mean, do you have user rights?
Correct. So and so we'll just need to know who has the you'll probably have, overall, you're probably going to have an administrator that will have full rights to everything. And then you'll have users that have rights to use the lead management tool, but not be able to change colors of the website, not be able to change the displays of your website, not be able to deactivate dealerships. And so we'll need to know what the user rights are for each individual.
Okay.
So
I'll work with you on.
Yeah, so that's how that works. It's pretty simple. And then a couple of the features that we're actually adding in right now, because several credit unions don't just have a central loan office, and since you don't have a central loan office, you'll have there on the members information. You'll basically have a checkbox that will log the loan officer. For instance, a loan officer is going in. Let me just back up here a few spots if I can.
And also, Cindy, another thing that we're putting in is the administrator at the credit union. We're putting in a place where the actual administrator at the credit union can assign new usernames. So say, for example, someone at your credit union doesn't currently have access to the back-end tools, but you want to give them access. We're setting up a website that you can go to, and the assigned administrator at the credit union can issue new usernames and can also assign user rights to that particular user.
When do you think that'll be up?
That'll be up prior to you actually using the system.
Okay, that would make it easier.
Yeah, here by the end of the month. You also have, like you see here when you're reviewing reviewing information, if a loan officer is working with the member that's not showing on this, and again, I'm using what I'm showing you on the display is actually about 2 sections old, but it'll be it's very similar to what you'll actually be seeing on your back end. There's a checkbox that you're able to check, and that checkbox will display when somebody else pulls it up which loan officer is working with the member, so that you don't have 3 loan officers calling the same member and nobody knows that somebody else is actually working on them. That way, if you're in there working with that member, you check the box and it'll display your login information, so that if somebody else goes in there, they can see that another loan officer is already working with the member.
One other quick follow-up on the lead managers. Is there a way to just pull reports to know what the overall activity has been during a certain period?
Yes, you can sort it, but as far as the download report, Ken, you want to talk about that?
Yeah, we're actually, right now we're kind of expanding on this back-end system due to multiple requests. So
okay.
we are putting in a system where you can pull reports. So to start out, it'll be some just general reports. You'll be able to pull number of leads that you've received versus the number of loans that you've completed in that period of time. So you'll be able to say, you'll be able to put in your own dates. So if you wanted to see from July 1st to July 30th, how many leads did we receive versus how many loans did we complete or secure, and then we'll also be able to pull reports by individual users. So if you wanted to say, okay, how many users did Cindy secure loans with, how many members, you'll be able to pull reports by individual user also.
Okay.
And again, these are a lot of things that it's the very first back-end tool that actually integrates with an auto buying service for a credit union. And so as we've started to roll this out, just as you're asking, we're getting multiple things that saying, well, it'd be nice if we had this, nice if we'd have this. And so we're diligently trying to get all those things added in. And so you will, as you're using it, you will see new things pop up in an email saying, hey, this is a new feature, you need to be aware of this. Because as we get the request, if it's something that can benefit you guys, something to make your jobs easier, and it's feasible to actually program it, then we're going to put it in.
And if you have something that you want, open communication, feel free to contact us. If it's something that we can roll out, we'll absolutely put it in there for you.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, and please keep in mind, and we really, really, truly, from all you guys, encourage that, because anything that makes it easier on your end also will tend to make it easier for other credit unions too. And we want to provide you with a great service, but we have multiple credit unions that are coming online, and we want to make it easy for everybody. I mean, we truly want to bring this back to where it's a credit union controlled system, where everything isn't just generated through the dealership and then you find out that your member's financing a car somewhere else.
Yep.
Questions?
I have a question.
Uh-huh.
I know you said earlier that the dealership doesn't pay for the lead.
Correct.
Right? So who actually pays for the service?
The dealership pays for the service. Traditional leads, like if I owned a dealership and I wanted to get leads of people buying cars, I would contact Cars Direct, for instance, and I would tell them I want 100 leads. I want 100 customers a month in leads, and Cars Direct buys those leads from buying services and from Kelley Blue Book and from different places, and they turn around and they sell them to the dealership. So as a dealership, I would when somebody goes in and they're looking on Auto Trader or someplace and they find this car that they're looking at, I get sold that customer's information for $20. And then my internet department would then contact that person and try to get them in to sell them a car. You're looking for a car. We have something very similar. Can we get you in to sell you a car? I would pay $20 for that ability to call that person. Now, they may or may not come in to buy a car. Statistically, it closes at about 5%. So 5% of the people that I buy at $20 each, I'm actually going to sell a car to. And so it actually mathematically works out to where dealerships pay on an average of about $455 per sell when they're paying. It's called a per click, pay per click. So when a person clicks on a car and I get sold their information for $20, if I don't sell them a car, I still paid $20. And I pay $20 for every one of them. I pay for 100 of them. I paid $2,000. I sell 5% of them, and I sold 10 cars. And so hopefully I recover my $2,000 in those 10 cars. And so that's the traditional services. That's how it works. You pay for an opportunity to try to sell them a car. We don't charge the dealership for an opportunity. We only charge the dealership if the member actually buys a car from them. So it gives the member the opportunity to shop the dealership. It gives the dealership an opportunity to display their pricing and try to sell them a car, but they don't have an obligation to pay for that opportunity. Therefore, they don't feel the obligation to, they didn't spend any money, so they're not calling them, beating them up, and killing them, trying to get them in because they've already spent the money on the person. They haven't spent a dime on them. Until they actually come in and buy a car, they've not spent a dime. And so that's part of what makes the process a little bit friendlier. They're not paying up front for an opportunity to try. They only pay if the member decides to buy a car from them.
And do you guys have it worked out with them where they're not allowed to turn around and charge the member for that?
Oh yeah, that's just the regular lead process. They're not allowed to pass that along. It's kind of like a bank fee. You're not allowed to charge additional for a car based on how a person comes to your organization or their financing.
Okay. Sounds good.
Other questions?
Not from us three.
Okay. Well, this will again. We're getting the dealerships. We're getting dealerships every day signed up, set up. Crown Group, Asbury Group, the Furmans, the Ghetto Group, the Chrysler Jeep, Jerry Ohm. So every day we're trying to get everybody on there, and we're hoping to have everybody up and running dealership-wise by the end of the month. Just getting all their feeds and their inventory in the same process, going through and making sure they're all aware on pricing their inventory, how it works, making sure they completely understand what they can and can't do, so that sometime around the first of the month we're able to actually roll it out. And prior to that date, everybody on your end, I've been communicating with Cindy, everybody on your end will get their logins and their access and how to log in and have an opportunity to check it out prior to leads actually starting to come into your back-end tool.
Sounds good.
Okay, very good. So are you waiting on anything from us right now?
Nothing. I just wanted to make sure, as you wanted, is to get together and make sure everybody knows how to use the back end. You received the image files for the links.
Hey, Tracy. I don't know if Tracy is still on with us, but yeah, I forwarded those on to Tracy, who works on our website.
Okay. You're just going to need to decide which ones you're going to use, where you're going to place them at on your site. And have that prepared. We will give you we will give you the linking information to pull up, your branded page. Prior to the final rollout, I'll want to make sure that we get together probably within the next week to no longer than 2 weeks, get together with whoever we need to get together on the information boxes to make sure that the information boxes contain the information that you want and that the links go to where you want them to go to. So
okay, so
mm-hmm.
Right now we can't access the back end, but we should be prepared to identify the images and what wordage or content we want in those 3 different boxes.
Correct. I'm going to send you over the images with that we were looking at on here. I'm going to send you over. Let's see if I can pull up here. I will be getting you over this page here for the fun fact area, because I'm going to need to know what you want in what you're going to want displayed in that area, and you will get this page here sent over in your email so that we can find out what you want here, what wording you want here. Like I say, if you want rates or if you what you want and where they're located so that we can stream them in or so that we can put them in, and also what you're going to finally want for your links and where you want those to go to. That's going to be the final things that you guys are going to need to get together on to decide where you want them to go. Whether you want it to go to a loan page, whether you want it to go to a rate page. Do you want rates here? Or do you want something else there? Because that's totally up to you what you guys want to put in those areas. So you'll be getting those pages forwarded to you so that you can give us the information and also along with any coloring. The coloring actually kind of matches your site, but any coloring that you may want to have changed on the boxes, we'll need to know that. So essentially you'll get those with a description page that'll basically have these labeled, and then you'll just put in the information and where the information is located so that we can get that and get it signed off on prior to actually launching.
Okay, very good. And so just the expected launch date about?
We're anticipating around the 1st of the month.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you, Robert and Ken. Appreciate all your time today.
You're welcome.
It's nice meeting you guys.
And we'll be in touch, and we truly hope that you guys do very well with it.
Yeah,
We do
we
too.
hope so too.
All right. Have a great day.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.